The death of Sinfiotli. Sinfiotli, Sigmund's eldest son, also met an early death, for, having slain in a quarrel the brother of Borghild, she determined to poison him. Twice, Sinfiotli detected the attempt and told his father that there was poison in his cup. Twice Sigmund, whom no venom could injure, drained the bowl, and, when Borghild made a third attempt, he bade Sinfiotli let the wine flow through his beard, mistaking the meaning of his father's words. Sinfiotli forthwith drained the cup and fell lifeless to the ground, for the poison was of the most deadly kind. He drank as he spake the word, and forthwith the venom ran in a chill flood over his heart, and down fell the mighty man, with never an uttered death word, and never a death-changed look, and the floor of the hall of the Volsungs beneath his falling shook. Then uprose the elder of days, with a great and bitter cry, and lifted the head of the fallen, and none durst come anigh, to hearken the words of his sorrow, if any words he said, but such as the father of all men might speak over Balder dead. And again as before the death-stroke waxed the hall of the Volsungs dim, and once more he seemed in the forest, where he spake with naught but him. Speechless with grief, Sigmund tenderly raised his son's body in his arms, and strode out of the hall and down to the shore, where he deposited his precious burden in a skiff which an old one-eyed boatman brought at his call. He would fain have stepped aboard also, but ere he could do so the boatman pushed off, and the frail craft was soon lost to sight. The bereaved father then slowly wended his way home, taking comfort from the thought that Odin himself had come to claim the young hero and had rowed him away with him out into the west. Hiordis. Sigmund deposited Borghild as his wife and queen in punishment for this crime, and when he was very old, he sued for the hand of Hiordis, a fair young princess, daughter of Eglimi, king of the islands. This young maiden had many suitors, among others King Ligni of Hunding's family, but so great was Sigmund's fame that she gladly accepted him and became his wife. Ligni, the discarded suitor, was so angry at this decision that he immediately collected a great army and marched against his successful rival, who, though overpowered by superior numbers, fought with the courage of despair. From the depths of a thicket which commanded the field of battle, Hiordis and her maid anxiously watched the progress of the strife. They saw Sigmund pile the dead around him, for none could stand against him, until at last a tall, one-eyed warrior suddenly appeared, and the press of battle gave way before the terror of his presence. Without a moment's pause, the new champion aimed a fierce blow at Sigmund, which the old hero parried with his sword. The shock shattered the matchless blade, and although the strange assailant vanished as he had come, Sigmund was left defenseless, and was soon wounded unto death by his foes. But lo, through the hedge of the war shafts, a mighty man there came, one-eyed and seeming ancient, but his visage shone like flame. Gleaming grey was his kirtle, and his hood a cloudy blue, and he bore a mighty twibill as he waded the fight sheaves through, and stood face to face with Sigmund, and upheaved the bill to smite. Once more round the head of the Volsung fierce glittered the brandstock's light. The sword that came from Odin, and Sigmund's cry once more rang out to the very heavens above the din of war. Then clashed the meeting edges with Sigmund's latest stroke, and in shivering shards fell earthward the fear of worldly folk. But changed were the eyes of Sigmund, and the war-wrath left his face, for that clay-clad mighty helper was gone, and in his place drave the unbroken spearwood against the Volsung's empty hands, and there they smote down Sigmund, the wonder of all lands. On the foeman, on the deep heap, his deeds had piled that day. As the battle was now won, and the Volsung family all slain, Ligni hastened from the battlefield to take possession of the kingdom, and force the fair Hiordis to become his wife. As soon as he was gone, however, the beautiful young queen crept from her hiding place in the thicket, and sought the spot where Sigmund lay all but dead. She caught the stricken hero to her breast in a last passionate embrace, and then listened tearfully while he bade her gather the fragments of his sword and carefully treasure them, for their son, whom he foretold was soon to be born, and who was destined to avenge his father's death, and to be far greater than he. I have wrought for the Volsungs truly, and yet I have known full well that a better one than I am shall bear the tale to tell. And for him shall these shards be smithed, and he shall be my son, to remember what I have forgotten, and to do what I left undone. So those were The Death of Sinfiotli and Hiordis, Sections 16 and 17 of Chapter 26 of Myths of the Norsemen by Helene A Guerber, the Sigurd Saga. I will be working my way through this book section by section, and if there are any other public domain books that you would like for me to read, please leave a comment below. Did you enjoy this video? Then subscribe for more, and be sure to check me out on Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon. Thank you for listening, and have a lovely evening.